Excellent. Okay. So the idea here really is that there's so much that you can be doing within yourself that's going to impact the dogs that are around you without bringing in any tools, without bringing in extra strategies, without focusing on all these different techniques. Like I said, there's so many different ways to support a dog. There's so many different ways to support a human. But my hopes today is that you leave here feeling more empowered in your body, more connected to yourself and your feelings, and you're able to start using and translating your energy to help impact dogs and to live a better quality of life for yourself. And so what I'd like to do before I get into just a little bit of an introduction and a little bit more about this course is I'm going to drop us right into a meditation. So all you need to do right now is find yourself in a comfortable seated position. And I want you to go ahead and close your eyes, start to invite in some relaxation into your body. Right now, the purpose of this meditation is just about calling our energy back to us. All the different places you've been today, all the people that you've seen, all the dogs that you've interacted with, the things that are weighing heavy on your mind. This is an hour and a half just for you to receive, just for you to get into your body, to be seen and witnessed and held, to be loved and accepted just for who you are right now. You don't need to change or do anything different. I'm going to support you and I'm going to lead you through this evening together. I want you to start taking some time to scan your body. Find places where your body's feeling a little tight, a little tense, needing a little bit of support. And just think about sending your breath to those places, giving your body permission to come online and to show you what's there. We want to take some time to really acknowledge ourselves tonight, the effort that it took to make time to be here, the things that you had to take care of in order to be present here right now, just for you. I want you to acknowledge how beautiful it is, how much you care, and what an asset your care is, both to yourself and to your relationship with your dogs, the people in your life with you, the relationships that you're forming. There's so much beauty in the way that you care. And we're going to help you redistribute that care in a way that feels good in your body. We're going to help you explore and find new ways to connect with you and your dog. We're going to take time to really trust the process today, knowing that you're right where you're supposed to be. You're right on time. There's nowhere else to be but here in this moment, receiving, acknowledging, and dropping in with yourself. Taking a deep breath in here through the nose and exhaling with a sigh. Maybe giving your shoulders a little shake. Just already feeling a little more dropped into this moment, a little more connected to your body, and a little bit more ready to receive what's here. And so this call is going to be set up in a way where we are going to go into a breathwork and somatic workout right from the get-go. We're going to really drop into some breath, sound, and movement to help open up our emotional bodies, bring our energy online, acknowledge ourselves first. Then we're going to go into a lecture. There's a reason that we're doing it in this order. You don't need to be any different than how you are right now. You get to come with all of your fullness, all of your experiences, all of your feelings. It's all welcome here. That's exactly what this class was designed for. And if you have moments of discomfort, it's okay to sit with them here. If it feels like too much, it's also okay to put the gas on or put the brakes on a little bit. This is about your experience. When I'm coaching you through this somatic workout, something that I really want you to hold the context of is you know your body best. I'm going to show you and give you some tools that feel good for me that I have found supportive. But you know your body best. I don't know what it feels like to be inside your body. So these are my recommendations. I actually can't tell you what's going to be best for you. This is to help you figure that out. If during the course of the call you're doing something that feels like a no, honor that. Trust that. That is exactly right. I'm not here to force you or try to convince you to do things like I'm doing. I'm just here to open your eyes up to a second set of options of ways that you can be with your own energy. Some things are going to feel like they light your body up and it's like, yes, fuck yes, this is for me. Follow that instinct. Some are going to feel like, ooh, this feels a little edgy, or ooh, this actually feels quite uncomfortable. You don't have to suffer your way through these exercises to get goodness out of them. The whole point is to experience it your way. And so when I say that too, I really also want to preface here, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a medical doctor. These are practices that I have learned through lived experience, through other teachers that I really respect. That being said, this is consensual. This is about what works for you. And I don't know each of you individually to know what's going to serve you best. So take it with a grain of salt. Listen to your body. You can always push your capacity to do hard things later. Where you're at right now is just good enough. It's perfect, actually. These practices that I'm going to show you are safe to do in the body. While some of them might feel a little bit of triggering, we're going to be activating some breath, which is going to do some nervous system regulation. We're also going to be doing some movement, some of which might feel a little uncomfortable for you. Some things to know about when we get into the breath and movement, just forewarnings, so you can understand these are totally normal reactions. Some side effects you might feel in your body, some tingling, some sensation. You might also additionally experience some numbness. You might experience some muscle reflexes, tension, releasing, tightness, areas of your body coming online that you had no awareness were holding some energy. It's meant to activate and gently release those things. You might also have some emotional release, like tears or sadness or frustration or anger. Your body might get really hot or really cold. You also might have moments where you feel absolute resistance and you need to take a break. Trust those moments. Trust those moments. I really want, like, one of the biggest things that I would like for you to leave this class today knowing is that there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you and you don't need to be fixed. And how your body is feeling is exactly right. And trust and be safe in that. All right. Now we're going to get into this breath work and movement. A couple of things to think about. When we're breathing through the nose, we are activating the left side of our brain that is like mindsets, structures, practices, containment, right? When we breathe through the mouth, we are activating the emotional body, the right side of the brain, feelings, flow, emotions. And so I'm going to juxtapose us between those two states. When we go into this breathe, what I'm going to ask you to do is just like Simon says, try not to overthink it. You're not going to do it wrong. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you exactly where I want you to breathe. I'm going to say in through the nose or out through the mouth or only in and out through the mouth. I'm going to coordinate it with the body, with the movement, because when you're working with a dog, for example, like when we're going on a walk with our dogs, we want them to walk at our side at a certain pace, looking forward, undistracted. And like the amount of multitasking and focus and clarity that you are expecting your dog to do, we don't practice that very often in our own bodies. So this is a safe way to practice those exact qualities that you're wanting from your dog anyways on your own. So when I say that, it's like if we're doing a movement and a breath, that's actually also, it's going to help engage our body. It also helps us keep from getting too heady. Part of what I wanted to share here is like meditation for someone who has anxiety, and this is my experience, is like agonizing to start with. Telling someone to clear their mind of all the thoughts and just keep coming back to nothingness is a really difficult place to start. And so what I like about breath work is it gives my mind and my body a little something to focus on, that I'm not just getting stuck in the mind prison up here, which is often how when we operate from a place of anxiety, we're just really getting trapped in the mind and the overthinking piece. The other piece that I want to share here is like part of why I'm sharing, breath sound and movement is because you always have that. You always have access to that, whether it's in the moment where you're in a trigger, outside of the moment where you just want to connect to your feelings, you want to evoke something in a different way. This is really just a great reminder of like, you don't need all this stuff outside of you to be with your feelings. You don't need all this stuff outside of you to influence your dogs. You need to start building a relationship with what's going on in here, getting really connected to that, really compassionate with it, having deep, deep empathy for the emotions that you're feeling, how they move, what you need, what feels good, how you need to be supported. All of that is how we influence our dogs. We practice with ourselves. We practice building the imprint here first. Then when we put a leash in our hands, then we put our hands on a dog, oh my God, the energy that we give them, what they get to receive from us is so much more potent. It's so much yummier, and you will see their behavior shift 1,000 times faster, sometimes instantly, sometimes because like I've practiced being with my own emotions and feelings and regulating myself, I can touch a leash and the dog instantly changes. Nothing happened other than they just felt me. And so I've been able to see through my lived experience how me working with my energy changes things. You don't need another workshop with another 50 different leash techniques. You don't need another tool. You don't need another this, and that. It needs to be you. It starts here. It's actually really empowering when you realize it's you. It's always been you. It's always going to be you. And you could be so empowered in it when you have tools that actually make you feel like you're going to be okay. That's the goal today, is for you to know there's nothing wrong with you. You have so many tools in here that are going to make you feel awesome and more empowered, to know that you don't have to panic when these feelings come up. You don't have to run away. Sometimes we do need to run away. Sometimes we need a little numbing, and we're going to talk about that later. That's totally normal too. But this is about building a journey that's at your pace, at your level of support, at your comfort. It can be yummy. We're not going to work our way through anxiety. We're going to ease and flow and find yummy ways to be with this energy. It's so much more fun this way. Trust me. All right. All that being said, I am going to drop us right into our somatic run through. I'm going to pop on some music. I am going to be speaking over the music. Hopefully the volume is good. If there's any issues, go ahead and pop it in that chat box and I can help support. Okay. Open up my playlist. Beautiful. Music's nice and loud for you in your ears. Could be a little louder. All right, for this first exercise, go ahead and sit cross-legged. You might need to get on the floor for this. You're going to be cross-legged. Actually, I'm going to do this down here. Cross-legged. This is inhaling and exhaling only through the nose. You're going to inhale leaning forward. Exhale leaning back. Doesn't matter what direction you're going, you can just choose one. Inhaling as you lean forward through the nose. Exhaling through the nose as you lean back. Slowly carving a circle here. Just inviting your body to come online. Gentleness. Slowly stirring and churning your energy, waking your body up, letting it know it's safe to feel. It's safe to feel. I'm watching you. I'm holding you. It's okay to show up right now with whatever you have going on here. Finding those places in your spine that need a little extra movement. This is your body, your experience. Continuing to connect with that breath. Changing directions. Opposite direction here now. Inhale, moving forward. Exhale, lean back. It's like you're giving your spine a massage and connecting to a very easy pattern of breath. Opening up your mindset to learn and receive today. Letting the music playfully guide you, dropping you into your body. Go ahead and change that direction one more time. Feeling some heat start to build in your core. One more direction change. Breathing as slow or as fast as feels good to you right now. Coming to relative stillness in the center. Just taking a moment and just roll your shoulders out. Shake your head no. Nod your head yes. Blow a raspberry. I don't know if you know this, but the opposite of anxiety is bliss. We're intentionally beginning calling in some bliss and some play into this somatic work through. Right, moving into our next exercise here. For this one, you're going to be inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth. One hand is out, one hand is towards you. So when you're inhaling, sending that energy out, exhaling, bringing it back. Getting into a gentle practice with boundaries. Getting an imprint in our body of what it gently feels like to say no and to say yes. Claiming what is for you and what is not for you. Inhaling through the nose, blowing off steam through the mouth, continuing with this pattern. Boundaries don't have to be hard. They don't have to be intense. They can actually be quite gentle. When we're working with energy, working with symbols can be very powerful. The symbolic realm. Getting into movement in our body that's emulating the energy that we want. Gentle, no. Gentle, yes. Invitation, denial. Letting the energy flow gently through your hands. Inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth, feeling that heat build in your body, feeling what it feels like to hold a boundary easily saying yes and no. It does not have to be such a struggle. You have to practice letting it be easy. How do we do that? Gentleness. Through flow. Don't wait to set the boundaries in the hardest moments. Practice when it doesn't matter, when it's just for you. Let it be yummy. What that boundary feels like, what it looks like. Giving yourself permission to push out the energies that aren't yours. Reclaim what is yours. You do not have to explain your no. You feel good in your yes. Gentleness and eagerness to set boundaries. Not to keep people away. Not to keep things away, but to draw them closer. Experience a relative stillness. See, boundaries can be fun. All right, this is one of my favorite activities. We're gonna do sound release. So for this song, every time you take an inhale in through the nose, you're gonna exhale through the mouth with a sound. Feel free to mirror me. I'll make suggestions for you. I'll make it easy. It's gonna feel really good in your body. Trapped energy gets released through sound, big time. Energetically, a lot of energy gets trapped in our body. When we give it permission to release with intention, then it doesn't come out in other ways unintentionally. You can choose to emote in a way that's safe and healthy and is good for you. And when you do, watch how it trickles down the line to your dog. Watch how they feel differently about your emotionalness. Inhale through the nose. Exhaling with a sigh. Let your mouth open big. Notice if you're feeling tight about the sound. Inhale. Exhale. Shake it off. Inhaling through the nose. Exhaling with a raspberry. Like you tasted something really icky. Inhale through the nose. Exhale with a sigh. Inhaling through the nose. Exhaling with a hiss through your teeth. Pushing that pressure like a snake. Inhaling through the nose. Exhaling with a growl. Oh, I'm angry. Oh. Inhaling through the nose. Exhaling with a sigh. Oh. Inhaling through the nose. Exhaling with a like you tasted something so good. Inhaling through the nose. Exhaling with a weird laugh. Inhaling through the nose. Exhaling again with a hiss. That snake-like predator energies. Pushing it out with force through your teeth. Inhaling through the nose. Exhaling with a sigh. Inhaling through the nose. Exhaling with a sigh. Inhaling through the nose. Make a big sound. Inhaling through the nose. Exhaling with a sigh. Inhaling through the nose. Exhaling with a sigh. Inhaling through the nose. Releasing whatever sound is left. Just giving yourself permission. Any less sound that needs to come out. All the things unsaid, just let it go. Oh, woo! Get it out. We don't need it anymore. Done with that. All right. This next one is going to be breath work for expanding your capacity. We're going to do something again in the symbolic realm. You're welcome to sit in whatever position feels good for you. We think about stretching our capacity for doing hard things. We seem to always go right to the hardest thing first. And, you know, there's a lot of beauty in choosing gentleness to do something hard. There's actually many ways to do hard things, and they don't always have to be all suffering. Now what you're going to do, your fingers are going to touch in front of you. You're going to inhale through the nose. As you do, your arms are going to go out. And when they're out, stretch them all the way out until you can feel tension in your back and keep your fingers activated. And then release. through the mouth.
If I offer up my burdens, the embers will burn.
Inhaling through the nose.
And the pressure to be perfect.
Fingers are open.
I'm just a slave
Exhaling.
to my own desire.
I'm gonna just
Looking for anything to feed the fire.
There we go.
Never leave me to my own devices.
Inhaling.
'Cause I can't keep up with
Fingers are
this
stretched.
sacrifice.
Exhaling. Oh. Inhaling. Stretch, stretch, stretch. Arms wide. Fingers are flexed. Exhaling. Whoa. Blowing off steam. Bringing it tight, 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 tight. Inhaling through the nose. Stretching, stretching, stretching. Arms out. Fingers flexed. Exhaling. Acting like there's a ball of energy that you're squishing in front of you. Bringing it towards you.
I want a sky without a ceiling. I could never say
Keeping with that breath.
if there's honor in the conquest to find out my purpose. I don't know if I deserve it. And if I offer up my burdens, the embers will burn it. And the pressure to be perfect. I'm just a
Letting it be simple.
desire, looking for anything to feed the fire.
Holding a steady pace of breath, just like you would be on a walk, holding a steady pace with a dog. Inhaling, allowing your body to get tight. Flex, squeeze your capacity. Bring it back in because you're so freaking strong. Stretching, opening, 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 receiving, releasing, releasing, closing, closing, opening, open, open, open. Releasing. Tight, 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 tight. You getting to decide when you expand and when you contract. Not having it be an automatic thing. You choosing. I choose to open. I choose to close. Letting those arms come to your sides. We are going into the shaking meditation. Your only goal for this song is to stay in constant motion. All animals release stress and anxiety by shaking and movement. Every single animal on this planet. What you can do is choose to activate your body and choose to release stress at any moment. Continuously. Find a way to move. If you don't want to do high impact, keep one thing moving. Maybe it's just your hand. Maybe it's the other hand. Your feet, your toes, your butt cheeks. We hold a lot of tension there. Give yourself permission to shake it out right now, to let it release. The natural nervous system regulation that we can do at any time. Find a way to keep moving. Commit. Commit to 4 minutes of giving your body the release that it needs. You know this track's a banger anyways. Don't try and fight it. You need to take a break, finding stillness, but finding some way to stay in motion. Again, your body, your experience. I shake a lot, so I can shake for like 10 minutes. Maybe that's not where you're at today. Let your body tell you. Whatever you're doing is good enough. It's perfect. Oh, shaking like our dogs. Shaking like our dogs do when they've found some stress and we're wanting them, we want to take away that stress for them and they're like, look, I'm doing it. I'm already releasing. I feel that, I understand that you want to make me feel good, but they're already using the tool. They would like you to use the tool. That would be helpful.
But I've heard it's nice.
Oh, you thought we were done? We're not done yet? You better keep going. You better keep shaking. Just think of how many times you've asked your dog to do behavioral down, or ask them to stay in one place, or do one thing for 4 minutes. And you're like, oh man, why can't my dog do this thing? Well, can you even shake for 4 minutes? I don't know. For you to know and you to find out. Keeping it moving. Last few seconds here. Any last movements that you're needing? Now's the time. Bringing your emotion to a slow, finding some relative stillness in your body. You're going to go ahead and lay down completely. You will be laying down for the next 2 exercises, and I will guide you through. Laying down completely flat on your back. We're going to be doing an activity around releasing resistance. Resistance really plays into how we work with our anxiety. Resistance is often a lack of acceptance to what's going on right now. So what we can choose to do is choose to go into our resistance intentionally. You can't know what it's like to let go if you don't know what it's like to fully go into your resistance. If you're resisting your resistance, you're going to have a lot of charge stuck in your body. And so now what you're going to do is you're going to lay out completely flat, arms and legs are splayed out, nice and relaxed. And when I tell you to, you are going to get everything in your body as tight as possible. You're going to close your hands into fists, you're going to squeeze your feet tight, you're going to squeeze your butt cheeks tight, your arms, your legs, your body, every bit. And I'm going to have you keep holding tight, 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 tight until I tell you to release. And when you release, you're going to let sound out. You're going to shake. You're going to shake your body. You're going to pound your fist. You're going to stomp your feet, and you're going to let it out. So laying out flat in that comfortable position, getting ready to go into resistance in 3, 2, 1, taking a deep breath in through the nose, holding at the top, squeezing tight, 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 your butt cheeks, your legs, your feet, your hands, every bit of your body, squeezing, pouring your resistance into everything that came up for you this week. Any doubts you had, any worries or resistance. Tight, 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 releasing on the count of 3 with a big sigh. 1, 2, 3, release. Letting the energy move. Letting your body go into stillness after you've released. Taking a moment to feel what it feels like to truly let go. Truly let go. And on this next round, when I drop you into the resistance, go even further. Give it a little bit more. Taking a deep breath in through the nose. Holding at the top, squeezing tight, tight, tight. Thinking about all the people who told you that you weren't good enough this week. Every time you told yourself you weren't good enough this week. Every time you got stuck with your dog, squeezing tight, tight, tight. Giving that resistance a place to go. Giving that resistance full permission to show up. Squeezing. Releasing with a big sigh on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Release. Woo! Letting the energy out. Thank you, resistance, for showing me where I'm at. I'm acknowledging you, and I'm ready to relax. Taking some time to feel the space opening up in your body. Understanding how much you've been holding on to. It's okay to let go. But sometimes we need a little support to do that. And we need to feel safe to do that. And that's the point of this class today. And the point of these practices. Last round we're going into. Taking a deep breath in through the nose. Holding at the top, squeezing tight, tight, tight. Squeezing your hands tight, feet tight, butt cheeks tight, stomach. Every little bit, every little muscle, tight, tight, tight. Leaning into your resistance, leaning into your self-doubt. Leaning into any of those voices that tell you that what you're doing and how you are is not perfect right now. Releasing with a sigh on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. laying here and acknowledging yourself for the courage it takes to show up and feel your feelings, the courage that it takes to acknowledge where you're at, and the acknowledgement to know that there is nothing wrong with you. How you're feeling is exactly right, and we're going to help support you. You're not too much. You're not broken. You're doing a great job, and we're going to help you find even more peace in that body, even more fulfillment, even more connection to your purpose and your truth. Go ahead and stay laying down here as we transition into our last and final song and exercise. Now, what you're going to do, gently parting your lips, you're going to breathe in and out through an open mouth. Just gentleness and tenderness. Relaxing into the work that you have just done. Letting it be yummy. Acknowledging how beautiful it is that you took the time to show up today to be with you and to help support dogs around you. What an asset your care is. How lucky and fortunate people are to be around you in your presence, where you're choosing to build awareness, where you're choosing to grow and evolve. What a gift that is, that you just show up. That you just show up. That is special. And it's really worth celebrating. The world doesn't need more perfect humans. It needs more aware humans, more conscious humans, more open humans. And you know how we get there? By welcoming ourselves unconditionally first, by practicing with ourselves first, by understanding ourselves first, trusting that the universe is conspiring on your behalf. These things are happening for you, not to you. But it can feel really scary and overwhelming when you don't have support and when you think that you're bad or wrong because of how you're feeling. There is nothing wrong with you. Your feelings are valid. They are exactly right. You get to have all of your feelings, all of your fullness. All of it gets to come to the table, and all of it will help you build a relationship with dogs. Dogs are magnetized to energy. They are magnetized to expression. They cannot get enough. So kudos to you for taking a step to acknowledge yourself today, to support yourself today, to offer a little something different to the dog next time you're next to it, or sharing space with it, or going into a client's home, because you're starting with understanding you first. Bringing our somatic run through to a close here. We're going to take a 5-minute break so you guys can get some water, use the restroom. Just take a moment. Just know you might be a little tender, a little sensitive right now. That's exactly right. We're going to be back here in 5 minutes at 6:50. I will be back on this call and starting the lecture. Please be on time. If not, no worries. You can catch the replay, but I will be starting promptly and I have quite a bit I'd like to get through. I'm going to do the best that I can today. But yeah, let's take a quick break and I'll see you shortly.
ain't high, but I still got high hopes. The good vibes never show up on time though. So I'm singing like Mariah with the high notes. So fly though, catch me in the sky. Everybody gotta ask me for a ride. Strapped like a thing that you keep on the side at a wedding as a guest might leave with the bride. So sick like Neo was. I fly in and say shit like a hero does. You got L's and your team got zero dubs. I put y'all behind bars like a CO would, yup. I survived the flood, I found strength somehow to get out the mud. So your little accolade don't count to us. Anything that you try won't amount to us, yeah. No pressure though, flow extra cold. I've been doing well eating my vegetables. And it seems like life feels so exceptional, exceptional. Yeah. And it seems like life feels so exceptional, exceptional. Yup. I supply what's demanded. I find peace, then expand it. Peep, I ain't average. Can't be from this planet. But I bleed through the bandage. Weak, but I'm avid. Go to sleep with the baddest. On my feet, something drastic. Beef to the basket. Couple G's and I'm laughing. For the cheese, I'm a magnet. Deep the advantage. I'm like so far ahead now. I got butter for the bread now. Chilling on a big cloud. And I won't come down, cause this is where I love and I live now. Get what you give out. Had to burn another bridge down. It just is what it is now. Life in a bitch, no. It's a curse and a gift though. It should be that simple, yeah. No pressure though, flow extra cold. I've been doing well eating my vegetables. And it seems like life feels so exceptional, exceptional. Yeah. And it seems like life feels so exceptional, exceptional.
All right. Welcome back, friends. Okay, so for this portion, I'm going into the lecture. I will say, for me personally, I really like to just listen the first time and not be taking notes. If you're a real note taker, one, you can always watch the replay, but two, I'm going to put up my notes from this class onto my website or onto somewhere where you can access it. So if you want a detailed blow by blow of exactly what I'm going to talk about, I'll give you guys access to that later. All right. I got a lot sick. All right. So, the main thing that we're really tapping into today is that there is nothing wrong with you. Anxiety is actually not your personality or identity. You don't need to be fixed. This version of you is actually going to come with you for the rest of your life. And like, I'm going to tell you something right now that might be a little empowering and a little frustrated, but guess what? If you're experiencing anxiety right now or you struggle with it, you're probably going to experience it for the rest of your life. And I don't say that to make you feel defeated, but just for you to understand that like this is a part of you that really wants acknowledgement and support. And the more that you do that, the less that it's going to show up and the less intense it's going to be. Likewise, that's how it's going to work for your dog as well. We develop anxiety for many reasons, often connecting back to how we learned growing up. I've talked about this on some posts on the Healing Pack around like how we experience learning growing up really impacts how we feel about our dogs learning and also really impacts how we process the world. I'm here to empower you and help to give you some strategies so you can feel like you have options when your system is needing support. The feelings are temporary. However, they can feel really big and overwhelming. And so it can be a huge relief just knowing that there's tools that you have access to right now in your body that can help support these things. When you're aware of your own energy and you practice regulating your nervous system first, which regulating your nervous system means I have a feeling come up, I'm with it, I express it, I feel it, I write about it, I journal, I do whatever I need to do. And then it starts to get integrated. It's when we get into avoidance of feeling our feelings, that's oftentimes when a lot of anxiety comes up too. Empowering you and your sensitivities can be a game changer for energy work with dogs. And it makes any technique, strategy, or approach that you're going to use more powerful. Just period, point blank. I wish I would have started with this work when I first started working with dogs. And I'll tell you, I've always known to be calm and assertive. But to be fair, I don't know how the F to get there, especially the calm part. Like if for, as you know, for me, someone who has experienced a lot of anxiety, like why I'm teaching this class is because my anxiety is actually in a place where it's manageable. And it's because of these practices that I got there. But like I've experienced a lot of trauma in my body. I have a lot of trauma from my family. I have lots of different things that I've been through, lived experiences in my body that make me a valid reference for this. Like I am someone who has taken the time to be with my energy, accept it, acknowledge myself, and then put in the work around it so that I can have a better quality of life and that those around me can have a better quality of life too. There's so much that we can do on our ends to make our energy squeaky clean for animals that we're working with, where we clear up space in our energy field so that we can be more intentional and clear and present with our dogs, not projecting all this unfelt stuff onto our dogs when we're trying to influence their behavior. So when I think about types of anxiety that I commonly experience, these are a few things that really like kind of came clear for me. One is there's kind of like this association of like caring too much. And so to give you a different context on that, I would like to say it's an abundance of care where there's already sufficient and proportional care for what's going on, right? So it's like sometimes I get anxiety about my husband leaving the house because I care so much, but me caring so much isn't going to keep him safe when he's out of the house. So it's actually there's like an excess of care that I'm giving there. It's not that it's bad. It's just it's like the cup is already full and I just keep pouring more into it. And I'm like, come on, just take more, take more. And he's like, dude, the cup's full, the cup's full. There's only so much I can influence with how much care that I'm giving to this thing, right? Another way is that I look at anxiety, it's a reflection of my level of ease of not having control over things. It's like, and that for me looks like things as simple as I get anxiety because I don't know if there's going to be a good parking space outside of the restaurant. And then my mind starts going, like, well, then we're going to have to walk farther. And then I'm going to like figure out what shoes I'm going to have to wear and instead of just being like, you know, there's, I only have so much ability to influence if I'm going to get a parking space or not. But it really comes down to it's a level of my not having control over things that tends to flare up the anxiety. Another one is a buildup of energy or charge in my body related to feelings, oftentimes because I'm avoiding feeling something else or I'm avoiding feeling pain or discomfort in the future. It's like I'm already trying to protect myself. And so I get anxious thinking about how I'm going to protect myself. And the thing hasn't even happened yet. I'm just like pre-planning my escape route. If I just think of every bad thing that could possibly happen, then nothing, then I'll be so prepared, you know, and I'll have all these options. It's a little, it makes me smile at how powerful my brain is and how much it wants to problem solve and like work through everything. It's not a bad thing. Don't shame your brain for being smart and thinking about things all the time. You just need to acknowledge that your brain is smart and thinks about things all the time and not make that bad. Don't make it bad. There's also associations with past experiences that you project onto the current moment. And so some of that can be like, it's a defense mechanism because we're trying to keep ourselves safe. And so like, for example, you know, if you have something really powerful that happens, Your association is that the next time something similar comes up, it's probably going to create a similar feeling. So you start already getting all this like unsafety activation coming through, right? The last one is resistance to reality as it is. It's like I'll get anxiety, like, oh, I like scheduled all these things today and I don't want to do them all today now. And I'm like, well, I scheduled that. And also, like, me having resistance around the things that I scheduled, either I could just schedule less things in the future, or I can find acceptance that I'm already doing the things that I'm doing today. But me going around and doing laps in the mind prison about how many things I scheduled for myself, it helps activate my anxiety even more. And so, like, those are like the main places. Those aren't the only ways you can get anxiety, but these are ones that I find that are really common, that come up for me very frequently. How can we approach this, right? So we've got all these triggers, these things that cause anxiety. How do we get to a place where it doesn't feel overwhelming, where we don't spin out into oblivion or shut down or run off or avoid, like, how do we get into a space where the anxiety comes, we see it, we acknowledge it, we work with it, and then we move forward? Like, what does that look and feel like? The best thing I've ever done for an anxious dog in my presence is to truly work with and manage my own anxiety, stretch my capacity to do hard things, and work at really embodying what qualities I want to evoke in dogs. I can't teach a dog anything I haven't learned and practiced for myself. I cannot teach you to be calm if I don't know how to be calm. And so again, like, you finding ways for you to be calm is the magic. It's not, you got to meditate, you got to do breath work, you got to do that. You need to figure out what makes you feel calm, and then you prioritize that regularly. That's your commitment. And then you start seeing how you're able to offer more calm to the dog that's in front of you. What are some ways that we can do this? Understanding your patterns, mindsets, and beliefs is freaking huge. What do I mean by this? If you're someone who struggles with a lot of anxiety, start tracking your moods. This is really, really important. When you start taking note of when you have big feelings for a couple weeks, track the time, track the date, your feelings, start looking for patterns. Start looking for patterns. Here's what I mean by that. What I have noticed is every Monday, I get anxious. It doesn't matter if I have a little to do. It doesn't matter if I have a lot to do. I just know this. Mondays, I'm like, oh, I'm so tormented. And there's just like, oh, there's all this energy of potential. And what am I going to do? It doesn't have to, you don't have to spin out into oblivion. What you could do is know that on Mondays, you always get anxious because you've tracked your patterns, and then you set yourself up for success on Mondays. That could be as simple as, okay, what are the things that make me feel good and supported when I'm feeling anxious? Okay, one, it's like getting into my body. Maybe I need some dance. Maybe I need to put on some good music. Maybe I need to take a hot bath. Like, you finding the recipe of what feels supportive for you when you're anxious. And that's going to be different for every person. Maybe you need a therapy session on Mondays. Maybe you need some outside support. Maybe you need to blow off some steam on Mondays. What if you set up Mondays to be the most fun day of your week? Where you're like, okay, on Mondays, I eat my favorite meal, or I take my favorite class, or it's like, trick the system. Trick the system. Once you start setting your patterns, you have all this information, and then you get to choose how you want to move with that. So, like, for me, knowing that Mondays are like that there's this energy already there. One, when I wake up and I feel anxious, I can go, and this all game, okay. Oh, Rachel and her Monday anxieties. Even Andrew knows. Andrew goes, wow, I feel like I really noticed on Mondays there's an energy moving, and there's power in that. There's power in the awareness of that, right? Similarly, anytime a boarding dog goes home, I feel anxious. And so, like, what I can also do is looking at the thought patterns that keep me trapped. Which, when you think the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. And it's actually very similarly related to that concept about putting too much care, where the care doesn't even influence things anymore. So, like, when I have a boarding dog going home, I'll be like, okay, I want them to be so successful. Like, did I prep them in all the ways? Are they going to be okay? Are they going to mess it up? Are they going to struggle? And so when that comes online, because I know that I get like this before the boarding dog goes home, I start to go, oh, okay, Brian. I was like, wow. Instead of shaming myself, I go, dang, you really care a lot about that. Okay. All right. And then sometimes I just let my brain do the thing. It's like that's problem solving, and this and this and this and that, and I let it go for a minute, and then I call myself back in, kind of like a meditation, where I call myself back in, and I go, "Oh, yeah, I'm doing that thing again. My God, how many times are we gonna think about this? Is there gonna be like a new, different solution than the one we already talked about 50 fucking times?" It's like when you have the conversation, you're like, well, I could have said this, I could have said that, but like the thing has already passed and you're just pouring more energy into this place that's already actually at capacity. So we're really just like acknowledging ourselves, thanking our brain, letting it do its thing, not shaming it into trying to change. The brain is powerful. It's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. Let it do its thing. Just don't make it bad for doing that thing and try not to get stuck up there. If you know that you're going into that thing where you cannot get out of the brain, maybe it's time to get into the body. That's a great moment to tap into embodiment practice like breath, sound, and movement. They're able to help you express what's present for you at an intentional and controlled time, or right in the moment, like when the anxiety occurs. If you feel it coming up, then you have a practice and you can go into it. Beautiful. Choosing to work with both our body and our mind helps us get the results that we desire. Just see where you're landing each day. Maybe when you're getting super heady, you need to write. You need to write it down, then you can read it back and you can see like, oh yeah, there's like a lot going on there. But at the very least, giving it permission to be expressed without making it bad, just giving it an outlet. The feelings are welcomed. Any feelings that we have, we're welcoming them, we're releasing shame, we're building compassion. Then the energy is channeled with intention. There's expression in every part of our system. We start celebrating who we are and how we are. We were talking about earlier, the opposite of anxiety is bliss. So outside of working with your mindsets, looking at your patterns, getting into your body, find ways to find your flow and bliss and make that the priority. Stop trying to not be stressed, not be anxious. Try prioritizing what feels good and yummy. What if you were so dedicated and committed to your pleasure, flow, and the pure joy of existence of living, tapping into your senses, getting into nature, doing what you love to do? Let that take up space. Instead of trying to be all militant and structured and tight, contained, just do this. Go build an imprint of repetition, of structure from something you love to do. Let that take up more space. Something that I've really noticed with anxiety is we have an abundance of energy. So, what do you want to do with it? Do you want to keep suffering? That's an option. That's okay. It's okay. Sometimes we got to be really upset about things. It's important. And also, we can choose to have our system let other things take up space. Like, I'll tell you right now, last night I didn't sit here and like do my lecture 50 times and agonize over the playlist. Blah, 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 blah. I went and danced for an hour and a half. And I danced and I danced and I danced and I expressed and I got into my joy and my power and I felt good. And then I come here with a potent energy that's yummy and connected and feels good. And then I teach from that place. It's not about having so much control of trying to protect yourself from the bad things that you don't want to happen. It's about you prioritizing the yummy stuff and actually letting that take up a lot of space when you felt your feelings. There's space for both. But like, it doesn't have to be so grueling to work with your anxiety. You could actually have some fun. Imagine that. Imagine that. You could like have fun with all that extra energy. But you have to choose that for yourself. You have to be intentional with directing where the energy goes. When I had one of my first therapists told me, when we were talking about my anxiety, he was like, "You have so much energy." And I was like, "What do you mean?" I just like don't feel like I ever want to do anything. I just feel stressed all the time. He's like, "Yeah, you have so much energy. How do you want to wield it? What would you like to do with that? How would you like to be intentional with it?" Building an imprint of commitment from a place of fun and joy will ingrain it more deeply into your fibers. Allowing joy, play, and pleasure to take up more space is going to really positively benefit you in many ways. It's not just going to be with your anxiety or with your dog, it's going to spill out quite a bit into other aspects of your life. One thing that I actually don't typically recommend for anxiety, only in small doses, is exercise. Exercise is often a bypass. Exercise doesn't change how you feel, it just changes the intensity of the feeling. So, to be fair, sometimes exercise a little helps us to feel like the energy is more manageable, just like with dogs. If you have an anxious dog, movement can absolutely help, but it's not going to change the underlying feeling. So don't just try and work yourself out of your anxiety. Don't just try and work yourself out of your feelings. They're still going to be in there. They're still going to be in there. You might be a little more tired, so you don't have such resistance to your feelings, and that could be helpful. But just be really thoughtful about like what exercise means. It's like that saying, like a tired dog is a good dog. Sometimes, not always. Sometimes it's a little more complex than that, you know? Okay, let's see. Something that I really want to acknowledge on the human side is that when you're first starting to notice and work with your anxiety, there are going to be lots of moments where you're still going to want and need to numb. We all have different levels of capacity of what we can work with in each moment, right? Don't think you need to take it all on right now. Yeah, do it all right now and it's all going to be fixed and done and everything's in its place. Let it take time. There's going to be moments where you're going to feel sad and you should go sit in front of the TV and eat some ice cream and put on sad girl music, watch sad girl movie and like do what you need to do. And then other times you're going to feel the capacity where you're like, you know what? I feel like I can go sit with this. Trust your process. There's no rush. We're not going anywhere. And again, this version is coming with you along the way. So don't make it bad. Don't make it wrong. Don't shame it. Let it take its time. Let it be a gentle process. Moving over into the second half of this lecture around anxiety in dogs. So these are just, again, this is not a full list of every anxiety issue that dogs have ever had. This is a list of some things that I see really commonly come up. Separation anxiety, not practicing intentional separation. The dog lacks coping skills to self-regulate. Anxiety because we disagree with an obsessive and neurotic behavior that the dog is participating in. For example, like, you're playing fetch. I have my feelings about fetch. You're playing fetch, right? Which activates prey drive. And then it stops. And then the dog feels frustrated because they're not completing the prey drive cycle. And so they start whining. You say, I don't like that. That's an example of that. Lack of exposure and imprinting. It's like, during the puppy stage when your dog is supposed to be learning about the world and how they process it. There's a lack of exposure. There's a lack of understanding how certain things should make them feel during that imprint period. Sometimes it's about a lack of information about what's expected from you. Sometimes it's you causing the anxiety because you're just not being clear. Sometimes it's a lack of advocation. Nobody is advocating for the dog and they feel a little confused about who or what they're supposed to be. Sometimes it's environmental or energetic. You go into a new household, the energy is all weird. You go to a park, there's tons of people who are all feeling different things, like it's really common that a dog experiences anxiety when they're in a new place or they're meeting new people and the energy has shifted. How can we support our dogs experiencing anxiety? First of all, we don't correct away anxiety. It's just not possible. No one's going to come up to you when you're feeling super anxious and be like, relax. You're going to be like, oh yeah, cool, perfect. I'm totally going to relax now. That helped. We don't correct away anxiety. We support it. We support it. How do we support it? First, we got to understand their capacity. Every dog has a different capacity to do difficult things, right? Then we have to acknowledge their triggers, things that your dog is sensitive to, really understanding, observing, watching your dog, seeing how things make them feel before you're trying to change anything. Try taking the next week to just observe your dog without influencing their behavior. See how it makes you feel and see how it makes them feel. Work with your dog at appropriate thresholds so they can manage stress fairly and kindly. If your dog feels anxious about meeting new people, taking him to the farmer's market is not the place to start. Have a little understanding and compassion about where their threshold is. How much stress can they take on in a reasonable way? Let the learning still be good and yummy for them. You don't got to throw them into the deep end. You wouldn't want to do that. If you were scared of heights, you wouldn't go to the top of the Empire State Building and be like, oh, let's do a bungee jump. That would be crazy. And sometimes we really project the amount of stress that our dog can take on onto them. Like we think their capacity is so much more than it is. It becomes a little unfair. Setting your dog up for success in the environment, understanding new places, people, sounds, scents, and energies will impact more sensitive dogs. They need time to adjust and take things in with the least amount of expectations possible. That means you not projecting onto your dog what you need for them in an unfair way. It's okay to say, you know what, I'd like to take my dog into a social setting for them to be social, but that means you've done the prep work to make that good, fair, kind for them first. Something that's really quite powerful with dogs that's super helpful is you connecting to your breath when your dog is experiencing anxiety. You have an opportunity to become an energetic tether. You have an opportunity to hold structure for what your dog needs by emulating it in your own body. That's why we practice breath work, meditation, movement outside of when we're with our dogs, so that when they're having a moment, not only are we self regulating for us, but we can hold something different for them. We're going to Something that you're going to want to do when you have an anxious dog is be really mindful about affection and what it means to them in this moment. Sometimes that means sacrificing what you want in order to support what they need, i.e., if you're anxious, not petting your dog, asking them to take that away from you. It's a little unfair. They didn't ask for that. And to be fair, they didn't sign up for that. You need to work with your anxiety. Touch your dog when you feel good, and then they're going to get to feel good because you feel good. Touch your dog when you're anxious. Guess what they're going to feel? They're going to feel your anxiety through your hands. They will feel it. Dogs are energetic beings, whether you want to acknowledge that or not. They're feeling everything you're feeling often. So being mindful about, like, this is my power source and I'm putting it on an animal. What does it mean to them and what does it mean to me? We can offer soothing touch. Soothing touch is not petting. Soothing touch is taking your hand, putting it onto a stationary position on the dog, and breathing with them. Just helping them emotionally regulate, not petting, coaxing them. Feel better, Jojo. Don't you feel better now that I'm petting you? It's like when you have a hug and you're just standing and receiving calming touch. You'd be amazed how much that can do for a dog. You cannot force relaxation with touch. Let's be really clear about that. Let the dog show you how it makes them feel, then respond appropriately. There's something that I do want to speak to. I've noticed there's like a lot of this like conditioned relaxation massage that I watch people do, but it doesn't look relaxing. And look, like if you're gonna do something like conditioned relaxation with a dog, let it be like a slow massage like you would do with a human. Oftentimes we see this thing where there's like this weird pushiness and it's actually just trying to like push the dog into a more submissive posture. They like want the dog to lay down, and so they're really doing this like spinal thing until the dog just doesn't have a choice other than to just like it's kind of like forced relaxation. I wouldn't recommend that. I understand doing like slow massage, but like be thoughtful about the touch that you're sharing and why you're doing it. Just really connecting to that again. We want to be really mindful about what we're asking an anxious dog to do with their body and why. Sometimes movement is really what your dog needs when they're feeling anxious. So, like, either you can provide them with an ample amount of movement, like through exercise and fulfillment, or sometimes you can just come with the understanding that if you're anxious, me asking you to sit can actually feel quite miserable. Me asking you to be so still when you're freaking out is hard for you. And look, this is like a very nuanced thing because, like, sometimes there's moments when our dogs can work through the anxiety and feel stillness. And sometimes there's other times where they need to be contained for their own safety. And then there's other times where actually them being in movement is going to be the most supportive. So, like, understand that it's not just one size fits all. It's not just like, oh, my dog's anxious, so I'll just crate train them. Sometimes that helps. Some dogs don't need to be crated. Oh my God, I said it. I'm a dog trainer. Some dogs don't need to be crated, and I don't believe that crating just fixes everything. Crating can be really supportive and it's really safe. I teach every dog that I work with to be in the crate because it can be helpful for like traveling, emergencies, all the things. However, don't think that that's the be all end all of making your dog be chill. It's a piece of it. It's not the solution. And so what I would encourage you to do is like test things out. Try being stationary, try allowing movement, try the crate, try the walk, get creative. Every dog needs a little something different. There's no magic fix. Just because CBD gummies worked great for your friend's dog doesn't mean that it's going to work for you. You might need to just do something like not let your dog cower under the table when a new person comes over. It could be something so nuanced like that. That's when it can be really helpful to have a second set of eyes come in to read your dog and help you start problem solving in the moment for your unique dog. If you have a trainer that comes in and they're just doing a bunch of cookie cutter stuff with you, just like really consider that. Like your dog is a unique emotional being, and so are you. Also, you get to decide how you want to live with your dog. No trainer should be coming in and telling you this is how it has to be. They can help support you if you have goals and desires and things that you want to achieve with your dogs, but like you are ultimately the authority on how you live with your dog. We really just want to be thoughtful about supporting what the dog needs from moment to moment rather than trying to suppress or make the behaviors go away. Being flexible for what our dog needs in the moment. This energy of understanding expression over suppression is going to make your dog feel really safe. It's going to help them feel safe to move with anxious energy and behaviors versus you making them bad or wrong because they're anxious. Oh my God, I just need to stop. I need to go away. We work with our energy first so that we can help influence our dog's behavior next. We work them appropriately at their thresholds, at their capacity, at our capacity. We're all working together. Sometimes we're not all on the same page. Sometimes our capacity is high and our dog's capacity is low. Sometimes our dog's capacity is high and our capacity is low. You're not bad or wrong for that. It's okay for you to have an off day. And guess what? It's okay that sometimes, some days, you skip a walk. Your dog's not going to die because they missed one walk because you didn't have good capacity today to show up in a way that would be supportive for what your dog needs, right? And I'm not saying be avoidance and just like never walk your dog and never look at your stuff, but like give yourself a little credit. Give yourself a little grace that you're an energetic being that's constantly in motion, changing, in flux, and so is your dog. You both need a lot of understanding. The 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 lubricant for anxiety is understanding. It's understanding and expression. Those are two things that are going to be so supportive. Anxiety dissipates with time, it dissipates intensity when you start opening up more acceptance, understanding, letting your joy take space, letting your true expression, your feelings, your purpose come online. This is powerful and important. It's important. You're not bad or wrong for feeling your feelings, for having big feelings, for being sensitive. You're not too sensitive. You're just sensitive enough. Your sensitivity is actually a fucking superpower. It just feels a little overwhelming if you're avoiding your feelings all the time. But when you start opening up that channel, getting support for yourself, sometimes you need outside support. Sometimes you need a coach or a therapist or someone to witness you, a friend that you trust. That can be really helpful too. The more you express, the more you allow space for your dog to express, the more you're going to enjoy a higher quality of life. You're going to find more peace. You're going to find more joy, more play. Things are just going to feel more easeful. And so closing this out, these are kind of just like some of my final thoughts, right? Dogs and humans experience anxiety for many reasons, none of which are bad or wrong. There's nothing wrong with you or your dog. There's energy moving that wants acknowledgement and support. Period, point blank. Call in a professional for a second set of eyes when you need it. Sometimes we need a witness or extra support to feel safe to express for us and for our dogs. Having a trained set of eyes on you or your dog can be so helpful. Before you commit to any strategy, technique, or tricks. See what you can impact by working with your own energy first. Be willing to play with that. See what happens from that place of creation. Not one size fits all. And start giving yourself the grace to have your capacity shift instead of expecting yourself to be superhuman all the time. Just because you have the tools and the information doesn't make it easy to make it a practice. So find ways to make your practice yummy. Find ways to drop into some flow and ease and gentleness, and understanding outside of the walks, outside of those moments with your dog when the pressure is on. It's okay to go slowly and to challenge yourself a little at a time. It's not a race. There's no competition. Nothing happens when you get there or achieve that thing. You just keep going and you do more things and you achieve more things and you stretch your capacity even more, and there will be more hard things and there'll be more stretching. And it's just like, it's a constant cycle of evolution and growth. But again, there's no rush. Take your time. Let it be a journey. Enjoy it. Once you start to see how your anxiety shows up, something that you can recognize and see easily, you start understanding how to support yourself. You'd be surprised. Sometimes you'll even start to laugh at the absurdity and the power of our brain and the way we overthink things. And we do the same things over and over and expect different results. Like sometimes it honestly makes me smile now. I'm like, wow, we're doing that whole thing again. Don't let yourself be bad or wrong when you go into those moments. Just like really open up that acceptance. Be compassionate. We're all truly doing the best that we can. If we knew better, we would do better. We're doing the best that we can. You, me, all of us. Let the process take time. Celebrate those wins. They're super important. Take in feedback compassionately. Trust things are happening for your benefit. And trust that the universe is conspiring on your behalf. It's happening for you, not to you, which can feel really tricky sometimes. But I believe in you. I love you. This is the end of my lecture. It's been a really beautiful opportunity for me to just to get to share about this and share some of these practices, to talk about the theories that I think are really important, that can be looked at and integrated into whatever training program you're doing. The whole point of this call was to really help you feel empowered to like show up and to know that there's things within yourself that you can utilize right now that can increase your quality of life, that increase your dog's quality of life, and just for you to have fun with this process. There's no badge of honor for suffering. You don't have to suffer your way through this. It's not that you need to work harder. Let me just be really clear about that. You don't need to work harder. You just need to be more understanding of yourself. And that is actually kind of can be more difficult to do. We're a lot of hard workers, people that are really passionate about dogs and animals and behavior. Boy, do we work hard, and like we're very capable. This is not about a capability thing. This is not about being perfect. This is about just being really kind and compassionate and open and gentle and prioritizing your quality of life and letting it be good. I'd like to open up this last 5 to 10 minutes here. If anybody has questions, anything they would like to bring to the table, let me know. Happy to give you any feedback. This is really kind of just like also a sample of what my energy mastery mentorship calls are like. This is like basically the exact setup where we really just get in practice around getting into our body, getting to our energy, playing with theories, getting empowered, getting a deeper understanding of our dogs, looking at more dog behavior as well. But yeah, I just really want to make this accessible, that like you don't need to spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars seeking out these answers when there's actually so much wisdom in your body that's available right now. Right now. Beautiful. Just reading through some of your comments. Oh, this has been just such a fun one for me. How do you deal with making a mistake with the dog, even though you have the information, know it, applied it often, but you still go wrong at times? I do that all the time. It's coming back to that understanding. We make mistakes. We're human. There's been so many times where I'm like, okay, so like I would be walking some dogs and I could see up ahead that there's dogs coming towards me that are not friendly, that are pulling on the leash and they look a little crazy. And then I'm like, oh, but we just passed like 10 dogs and they're all great. And I'm feeling good in my body. I'm feeling very positive. And then I keep going that way. And then my dogs have a big reaction because I saw the thing. I saw it and I walked straight into it. And it's like we still have moments where our judgment is a little off. We make a little mistake. And then I go, oh, wow, I can totally see. I look at what transpired and I look at the details and I go, okay, next time I'm not going to do it that way. I'm going to try a different way. I have compassion for myself because I'm a human. And even with 17 years experience training with these dogs, I still fuck it up sometimes. You're never not going to make a mistake. So in addition to just like having some understanding, it's just like having some compassion and knowledge that like you're going to continue making mistakes. You're going to continue making mistakes. It doesn't mean that you need to go into the shame hole because you made a mistake. A shame hole is like when you start feeling all the shame because you should have known better, you should do better. It's like that, the shoulds, that whole energy is like um it's just very unsupportive. And again, if we knew better, we would do better. So just like treat things that you're working through like practice. Let the performance be at the end of your life when you know all the things and you've practiced and experienced, and like let that be the one that like defines you. But like these little moments where you're just practicing, figuring it out, be like a scientist. See what works. And if the experiment doesn't work, that's okay. Doesn't mean that you suck as a scientist. It means you're going to try a different experiment. All right, let me unmute you, Jess.
Oh, sorry. I didn't know if we could. I thought it was like you can talk. Um,
Yeah.
do you have recommendations on, I don't know if it's separate, but like I really like the part that you do in the beginning with breath work. I still feel a little uncomfortable with like the movement and stuff. But I really feel like a lot comes out, at least for me personally, with the breath work and the meditation. I don't know if you have like recommendations for that
So like
nearby, or I don't know,
what
like I don't know, classes or just like
Sure. I mean, local here in Los Angeles, there is this incredible group called Ecstatic Dance LA, and there's actually this ecstatic dance group. They have them all over the world, but ecstatic dance is about moving to show how you feel. And so there will be like 300 people that show up on the beach in Venice. Everyone puts on a headset. It's a silent disco, and there's a full DJ set that's played, and it's just about having permission to get in your body. And so, like for me, being in that community aspect at first was terrifying. Like I showed up and was just like, oh my God, I already don't know if I want to dance on my body. And now I'm going to do it in front of other people. But sometimes just witnessing them and their permission that they gave me helped start unlocking my body. The other piece that I would recommend is like with movement specifically, find what moves you. Like my music is meant to evoke something in me. And so like I'm sure there's songs that you know that evoke something in you. Pick a song that makes you feel big and then allow your body, trust it. Get into a quiet space with yourself where nobody's looking and it's not a performative thing and there's no mirrors and you can just like be in your own energy. Like that is the practice. Like for me, the last 2 months I've been renting a dance studio just to dance with myself, just for that, because like it's so uh powerful for me and I have such a love and connection for music that it really gives my emotions permission to come online in a certain way. But it's like about finding what moves you. It's
yeah.
like even if you go to that ecstatic dance thing, they're going to play a preset that's going to like be meant to evoke something, but like I have a feeling that there's certain songs that make you feel big stuff. And like those would be the ones that I would put on and start playing with. What does my body want to move to this? And it might not be dance, it might be like you put on Rage Against the Machine and you rage the fuck out, or just like finding something that really like does something for your body, like purposely evokes it, makes you sad, makes you happy, makes you whatever it is that you're wanting to feel that day. And then see if you can allow your body permission to move with that.
Okay. Thank you.
Absolutely. Laureen asked, I've only been watching the end. Could I reach the full lecture to watch it from the beginning, please? Yes, I'm going to be posting up the replay to this call within 24 hours. So You will have full access to watch it as many times as you would like. Okay. Anyone else? Final call. And also, if like questions come up over the next couple weeks, just reach out to me on Instagram. I'm super available. I'm happy to get back to you. There'll probably be more that is going to come through for you in the next week or so as you're processing, thinking about everything that we talked about tonight, thinking about the breath, the sound, the movement. Maybe you want more practices around that. One other recommendation, Jess, that I could make for movement is one of my old coaches, Stevie, has something called the Breath Channel, and it has all these breath, sound, and movement practices that are super helpful. I think it's like $20 a month. There's hundreds of practices on there, and it's guided. So like someone else had reached out and said, I'm having a little bit of difficulty dropping into like the somatic stuff without it being like guided for me, which is totally makes sense. Like I can guide these because I've been guided a lot. And so I'm pulling from those when I'm putting this together. But like Stevie Wright, the breath channel, I'll post it to my Instagram tonight as well, is amazing. It's a great place to start practicing too. All right, my loves, this was such a beautiful call. I thank you so much for just allowing me the privilege to teach and share with you and just like be with you in this moments. And looking forward to seeing how this continues to unfold for you all over the next few weeks, over the next few months. Again, if you're interested in doing more energy work, I have my energy mastery mentorship starting in July. It's going to be a set of 4 online calls, very similar in format, where we're going to talk about energetics and embodiments. And then we'll go from there. But yes, so very excited for what's yet to unfold for you all. And again, if you need further support, just let us know. Sending you all lots of love.